It is the We Are You Morning Crew, and I am George Diggle. You're in the right place to get the sizzling subjects and the trending topics. If you're just tuning in, ladies and gentlemen, this is the continuation of nuanced conversations about trans visibility. Now, yesterday we had the men of Trans World Atlanta in the studio, and on the first day we just had our conversations between ourselves about trans visibility, and today we have a family dynamic. And a black family dynamic as it relates to trans visibility. We have Devyn Jyselle and her mom, Angela, here in the studio with us. And a little bit later on, I believe we'll have the patriarch of the family as well. So I'll let you go ahead and start, Miss Linus.
Well, before the break, Devyn and Angela were so great in sharing their stories. And Miss Angela said before the break, when she mentioned about haters, offline, we got into this conversation on how people will have all of these opinions based on what they've gone through, based on what their religion tells them, based on, and I'm someone that was raised in an environment that was heavily churched. And the church was a barrier for my family in accepting me. And it really, really prevented, it really set us back years as far as helping them get beyond what other people have to say about it, more than my mom always knowing who I was. My question for you, Miss Angela, going into that piece, I know that you're probably I know that while you and your family have created that safe space, I'm sure that you've had to, or at least heard someone use the religion argument, or you yourself have probably felt the hypocrisy in some of what people say. Can you talk a little about that?
Sure. So growing up in the deep South, Bible Belt, Mississippi, you know, it was ingrained that you believe in the Bible, you go to church, you go to Sunday school, you sing in the choir, and you adhere to those teachings in the Bible. And that was, I guess that was fine, because that's all I knew growing up in Mississippi, and, you know, only seeing that world and understanding that world of church. But then, you know, as you get older and you grow, you see these contradictions between the way what the Bible says and the way that these spiritual Christian people live. The contradictions and hypocrisy I think you just talked about, like, I saw that evident first. So I was like, okay, that's something's not real here. And then after, you know, becoming a parent and then having a gay child, and what the Bible would tell me about, you know, homosexual relationships and those types of things, and I couldn't not love my child and love the Bible. I could not. Those things couldn't live together, because my understanding and my definition of love doesn't teach some of the things that the Bible teaches. So for me, I knew, still, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I'm not don't believe in God. Of course, I know that there's something greater and larger than me that I, you know, pray to and you know, share gratitude to. Don't get me, I have that still, but the Christianity piece, as far as Jesus, and I still struggle with that. I still struggle with that. But like I said, a spiritual person, absolutely. I know that there's a being greater than myself, and that keeps me from, you know, just keeping my same relationship I had as a Christian, as a young Christian, and as someone who's, you know, just grown. When you grow and you have more experiences in life, that changes. And that changed for me.
I love that divestment from what you saw as hypocrisy. I feel like there is a way in which so much of church is about performative Christianity. It's about being a saint on Sunday, when that is not exactly at all the reality of your life on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or any other day. And I feel like in this moment, we're a community that is easily to identify. So then, unfortunately, I feel like what happens is a lot of church folk, in wanting to feel saintly, then someone has to be the sinner. And so then let's get to the vulnerable kid that we see that's feminine over there. And let's all collectively not feel bad about our sins and make this one person feel the worst. And I just love that you were able to see for yourself, for your family, that there needed to be a different decision. And it's interesting that it also made you even shift in your own faith walk. Like you understood that you had to open it up beyond that narrow confinement of what God was.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, I mean, it really is a maturity, a spiritual maturity that really has to happen for you to be able to love and accept people for who they are and how they treat you and how you want to be treated. It's a real transformative growth that has to happen. And that happened because of my love for my family and for my child. That it made me grow up a lot faster and a lot, like you guys called me progressive. And that's what happened because of the love. If it's 100% real, it'll push you towards some real uncomfortable times, thoughts, conversations, and it's been uncomfortable, but Devyn's worth it.
Now, speaking of uncomfortable situations, we were talking a little bit off the air. You and Devyn had the initial conversation about who Devyn is and has become. What was that conversation like? Because you got a bonus child, and you've got Kyle. Hey, Kyle. And you've got the patriarch of the house, Kesey.
Yes.
So how was that conversation? Hey, y'all, we got something to talk about. What was that like? Take us through it for how it looked, how that was for both of you.
Well, after telling my mom, I didn't talk to my siblings or my stepdad about the situation at all. I kind of just thought that my mom would kind of handle it all for me, and thank God she did, because I really don't know if I would have been able to really handle it or really express to my brother and my sister that their brother was no longer going to be their brother is now their sister. But after we've had conversations, later on, my brother has always been like, you've always been my sister, to be honest. Like, you've always been this person. So it's not really much that's going to change.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And Angela, for you, having to sit down with the kids and we got to have a talk.
Well, first I had to do it with the daddy, the guy that I play mom and daddy with, right? So I had to call daddy and say, okay. First he heard me crying, and he's great. He's a great guy. So he called crying. He's like, "What is wrong? What's going on? Where are you? Do I need to come get you?" For always trying to take care of me and my heart. And he says, it's something major. What's going on? So I told him that Devyn is transitioning and that she wants to live her truth, and how are we going to get through this as a family? And immediately, amazing guy, he says, we'll get through it like we get through everything else.
Wow.
We love Devyn. We'll get through it like we get through everything else. I'm like, well, what about everybody else? What do they? He was like, man, I don't give a shit about that. He never has. And that's what it is. Our job is to love and support our child. And I said, we're going to have this conversation with Kyle and with Amani. And Kyle has always been a progressive kid too. Like, he came from another world. He's been here before. He's an old man anyway. I called, and well, first of all, let me tell you the story about how he knew Devyn was gay. So he was about 10, right? He was about 9 or 10. I think he was about 9, actually. It was before he turned 10. He was 9 years old. He was sick from school, and we stopped to get McDonald's fries. It was just he and I in the car, and there was a young man in the drive-through, and he was a gay young man, and he took our order, and I was like, oh, he's so sweet, he's so cute. And Kyle was like, I know somebody like that. I said, you do? Mom, you do too. I'm like, oh yeah? He was like, Devyn's like him. And I said, how do you feel about that? He was like, I don't care. I love Devyn. So, and then, so when I had the conversation about Devyn becoming your sister, Devyn's trans, again, Mom, I'm not surprised, but I just have to get used to using the right pronouns and not being insensitive. And, Devyn's, I love Devyn. And that was it. My daughter, same thing. These kids are amazing. Like, same thing. She was like, oh yeah? Okay, so I have a sister. Okay, cool. It was just so, I kind of expected them to be accepting, but just not so quickly. Not so quickly. But again, like I said, in our house, we show love and we actually operate in love, and they believe that. So once they see that, it's easier for them to express that.
I think that's something powerful that you just shared. The idea, because I know that in the world right now, everybody's trying to protect kids from transness. They can't know about it. They can't see it. They can't know about drag. They can't know about LGBT culture because, what their little young brains cannot conceive. And what I just heard is that we often underestimate children's ability to adapt.
Because how old are the kids?
Well, they're not kids. Our kids are adults. Like, Amani's 20. Kyle's 22.
Okay.
And this happened a couple years ago, so they were still like
young adults. Yeah.
Yeah, they were young adults, but I mean, they've always been loving and accepting of Devyn before transitioning as a gay man. So I mean, if you, like I said, it's if we remove ourselves and our own personal feelings and think about the other person and how they feel and wanting them to be happy. I don't understand why this is so hard. I know you guys probably seem like I'm making this very easy. Look, it took time for us to get to where we are, to be able to have a conversation like this out in the open, because there was some shame there.
Because there
was some shame there about why y'all let this happen, and like these are questions like from family. Why you let this happen? Why you let Devyn go do and be whatever Devyn wants to be? I don't own Devyn.
Boom.
I raised a child to go out and to live in the world as an individual, self-understanding, self-proclaiming person. And my worst fear for Devyn as a child and all my children is that they don't grow up to be drug dealers and serial killers.
That's it.
If I did that,
You want good
I kept them
people.
alive.
Amen.
And, you know, and what's so dynamic about your family is what you just said. There are some people in community that would rather their child be a drug dealer or a serial killer.
No shade to drug dealers.
Than
Or be
to be gay or transgender.
Or even
Right.
a child molester. Like,
Yes.
I know those. And we, in the black community, we keep that so hidden and keep that and protect these people who are predators of our children, but we don't protect our children. It's
backwards.
It's so, like I said, just contradictory and not real. I just want to be real about this whole thing and be open and honest and just, again, love.
Love is really the glue for a lot of things. Speaking of love, I want to talk about what it's like now, Devyn, because this is Trans Visibility Week. And I want to center you in this conversation. Can you tell me about all of the amazingness because there are people that would think that we transition, and because they only hear about our deaths, they only hear about the sorrow, they only hear about the violence and the people talking about us and the haters, they don't realize that we are actually happier. So let's talk about your joy, that black girl joy. Let's talk about that. In this moment, what is your life like now that you've embraced who you are?
I've never been happier.
Amen.
I've never been happier. I know a lot of people who are transgender feel like they were born in the wrong body. I never felt like I was born in the wrong body. I feel like this is the body that God gave me. I just wanted to make this body comfortable for me.
Come on now.
That's how I feel.
That's beautiful.
Yes, very powerful. And at such a young age to have that awareness.
Yeah,
in my
yeah.
20s, I was
did
still
good,
self-hating.
didn't I?
I was
did good.
self-hating in my
I did
20s. You
good.
did good, Mom.
Thank you.
You did good.
Yes, but right now I've never been happier. I haven't felt this complete in my life. Finally feeling like I can express myself the way I want to express myself and have people view me in the way that I feel like I see myself inside. It's the best feeling ever. One of the best feelings I've ever had.
You can't even buy. You can't sell that kind of feeling. You can't buy it.
No.
At all.
Let me ask you now, when you're navigating, and so you're in school now.
No, I've graduated college years ago. How long has it been? 2017 is when I graduated from college.
Oh, so you think you're grown? You think you're grown?
Oh, you grown.
I was just telling Uncle George, I'm almost 30 years old.
So, you know, it's so funny. That's how you know they are. You know, he's referring to you as a youth. And I've been... Sis, wait. We ground. So I want to ask what dating is like. Now I can ask, girl. So what is it like dating and being young and fab? I'm in my 20s, my heyday. You know, this was the beginning of the internet. So I can only imagine what it's like with the apps and the boom, bam, boom, boom. So what is it getting, girl?
Dating is weird for me right now, only because I'm only a year into my transition, so I still look like a boy. I'm not even going to deny that. So it's still going to take some time for people to really see me the way that I see myself. But in regards to dating, I don't want to say I don't care to date. I'm just kind of just going with the flow at this point in my life. I'm really focused on myself, focused on my journey. There's always going to be men. Men are everywhere. Men are going to be
Period.
on you like white on rice regardless. But that's really it right now. I'm not pressed for a relationship. I'm not pressed for a man. I'm kind of just doing me. I mean, it's great being a doll, and you know the boys love the dolls, but Some of them are crazy.
Very much so.
Yeah, some of them are crazy.
Very much so.
And
Excuse me, man in the room. Hello. Excuse me.
well, it's a different breed. Gay men are completely different than straight men.
It is, and the way they see the world and the privilege and all of that. Yes,
Very
it's
different.
a whole different ball game. Particularly when you for the romantic partners as well. The way that dynamic with us, that I love you but not for real in public.
Yes. And that's another thing that I don't want to deal with. I don't want to date somebody who's going to be ashamed of me,
Amen.
or want to hide me, or not take me to their mom, because I feel like moms love me. Dads even more.
Well, let's talk about that really quickly in a serious mode, because I know a lot of girls, a lot of trans people in the community feel a little bit of trepidation when you begin that dating process, and you meet someone you like, and they may not know, they may not be aware. What does that feel like when you have to divulge, or do you feel like it? And when do you feel it's proper? And is that just...
Well, me personally, on dating apps and things like that, I explicitly say that I am trans. It's going to be the first thing in my bio, so that people are already aware of who I am and how I'm presenting and how I'm going to be coming into this relationship. But I feel like most people, like if you are a passable trans woman or passable trans person at all, I feel like you don't have to really disclose anything to anyone until you become intimate, or until something really becomes serious. Then it's going to be time for you to, tell this person about who you really are.
I agree. I think dating apps makes it easier. That is a specific nuance that is as powerful in this day and time, is that you can just put it on your profile.
Right.
And then you saw it, brother, because I have it up there bold as day.
Exactly.
Whereas I do feel like there's a dynamic, and I'm sure you've experienced this also, where you're in public and you're having to navigate in being visible. I'm not trying to deny who I am, right? Like, I'm visible, I'm here, but I'm also not going around saying I'm trans on a t-shirt every day either.
At all. Right.
So then what is it like navigating and having to disclose, and not just in romantic relationships? How has it been in this climate right now, just navigating as a 20-something trans person professionally, like just in general? Like, what is that giving?
Right now, it's kind of weird.
Okay.
It's kind of weird. I'm not even gonna lie. Really just in regards to like getting jobs, I feel like I've definitely experienced some type of hesitation from people in regards to working.
Discrimination.
Speak on it.
Yes,
It is
discrimination. Actually was supposed to, so I'm a costumer and I work in TV and film, and I actually lost an opportunity because of my transition. They were only looking for one male costumer and one female costumer, so they couldn't hire me because the designer was unsure about who I was. So, yeah, that's basically how I'm feeling right now.
Well, I want to get into it. Mama, you about to find some business, so go ahead and listen good. So, what does the guy for Devyn look like? Come like? How is that? What is that package?
Hopefully he's black,
Okay.
number one. But I mean,
I like
we're
all
open.
types of men.
But I was just listen. I just said hopefully.
I don't discriminate.
I'm not saying that. Your mom has not discriminated in life. I'm just saying. I just want black grandbabies, and then so I someone who's like her father, like Kesey is,
Or David.
Yeah, someone like her fathers. They are strong, very different men, but very
smart.
strong, smart, hardworking,
Ambitious.
take care of family. So that means she'll be taken care of. That's my goal, is someone who does that and takes care of her heart.
All right. Now, we heard from Mama. Tell us what the real deal is. Go on, tell us.
I mean, I feel like my mom really summed it up for me. I really like ambition. I really like somebody who's a go-getter. I want somebody who, I would like to date someone older, someone who could kind of, not really show me the ropes, but like really kind of guide me for the things that I'm not aware of yet. I want somebody who's just strong and comfortable in who they are, confident in who they are, can walk into any room and command a room. I like presence. I like presence. I like someone who is, when they walk into a room, you're going to notice them.
Okay.
like you.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna take us a little break, and this is a great conversation. My goodness, and I'm so proud of you. Seeing seeing the grown up you, and not that little kid. I wanted to choke in the middle of the room because I'm sensitive about my language. I'm sensitive. We are listening to Angela and her daughter Devyn Jyselle. My co-host Lioness will be back with more sizzling subjects, trending topics, and maybe even a question of the day. Can you handle it? We'll let you know. Be back.
Download the WERUradio app.
Turn it up loud.
Use the shout out feature to talk directly to your favorite station. It's available in your app store. Search WERUradio, one word, today.